Stanford Invitational 2023. So just give me 1 second. Right. So we're all here for the orientation of Stanford Invitational. We were really happy with the overwhelming response that we received for this international tournament. It sure is a prestigious one. As for today's orientation, the purpose we have in mind is to let you know about the various formats there were and how we ended up shortlisting a few according to majority preference. Please mute yourself while you're saying something which is not relevant to the meeting. Yeah. So that's what we're going to begin with. First of all, a little bit on the formats, the ones that were there in the form, and the ones that we ended up shortlisting. What was the selection criteria? What are the next steps that you're supposed to look after and take care of after this orientation? All of those things we'll be covering alongside any questions that you might have. I'm happy to answer, right? Okay, so to begin with, AugLi, we've done a lot of international tournaments, right? And recently we had a couple of breaks as well, right? At LSE, we had two of our teams breaking junior and senior category. And at KCL, which is King's College London, we had another team breaking that too on top of the tabs. So that's something nice. Sai Rahan particularly mute themselves when they're saying something. It's becoming kind of disturbing for everybody else. Thank you. Okay. As for the flow of the session, then tournament details are the first thing that you'll get to know about, post which I'll tell you about the selection criteria, post which introduction to the finalized formats, like I said, and a little bit of explanation on what these formats mean, and then the next steps that you're supposed to get onto in order to just like confirm your participation through AugLi, right? So the various speech and debate formats that we had for Stanford Online, which you might also have like familiarize yourself with in the process of filling the form, were these. So just go through them if you have like forgotten the formats there were, or if you don't remember the names of all of the formats there were. So these are the formats. You had certain preferences that you chose in the form, according to which, coalescing all of that data, we came up with this sort of a response, right? According to which we then ended up finalizing 4 major formats, out of which one is a speech format and the other are a debating format, because I see that a lot of people were just wanting to get into those formats for debate and not speech so much. So that's what it looks like. All right. Then what are the finalized formats, given that you know the selection criteria now? Yeah, these. So just to breeze through them, I mean, I have a separate slide for each of them explaining what they mean, etc., and what you're supposed to do if you were to participate through this format. But just to give you an overview of what the listed formats look like, it begins with the parliamentary format of debating, WSDC, Lincoln Douglas, and then a different type of format which like differs from these three is like the public forum debate, which is why you see it in a separate column. And then there's the extempore, which is a speech format, right, and not debate per se. So these are the 5 formats that we have shortlisted for you all to participate through. Okay. Any doubts so far about like the selection criteria and the format shortlisted? Can I help you with any questions so far? Anyone? Just raise your hand, okay? Don't just unmute. Okay, Sasha.
When would the preparation for this begin?
Okay, it'll be a long process. So first you will have to confirm your participation. I'm just going to come to the next steps in not more than 15 minutes. Okay, Anindita.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what does WSDC stand for?
Okay, coming to that in the next 2 slides. So that should be answered in a while. What else?
No, that was it. Thank you.
No, as in, does anybody else have a question that I might be able to help with right now? Nope. Okay, moving on. On to the formats then. Parliamentary form of debating, it basically is like a team format wherein you will be participating in a team of 3 or 5, depending on, I mean, that's the only difference between WSDC and parliamentary, right? APD. So in Asian parliamentary debates, you have 3 speakers, and then there is a reply speaker, but the reply speaker is one of these three speakers, which means you have three unique speakers in each team, and they get given either of these roles, right, which you see on government and opposition. So if there are three people on government, you will get prime minister, deputy prime minister, government whip, that you get to decide who will go as which speaker. That's all internal team dynamics. And then you are given a motion, which can be impromptu. Some of them can be prepared rounds, some can be unprepared rounds. So you are given a motion, you prepare on that motion with your team without any reference to the internet, and then you present your case line with your teammates in this order of prime minister going first, then opposition of leader of opposition, then deputy prime minister, deputy leader of opposition, government whip, and opposition whip, followed by the reply speakers. Okay, so now in this case, you are given a motion. Basically, you are working as a team where you prepare as a team on a motion without the reference of internet mostly. And then you have around like 5 to 7 minutes to deliver your speech, right? It varies according from tournament to tournament. So that's what the parliamentary form of debating is about in the most rudimentary, basic sense, right? On to, just give me 1 second here. Okay. On to the World Schools Debating format then, WSDC, somebody was asking a question. It operates very similarly to like the parliamentary form of debating. When you work as a team, you're given a motion, you prepare on it, and you deliver speeches, and then you try to take it over the other side. The only difference here is that the speeches can be longer than like, so whatever the format, the duration, like whatever the duration of speeches is in your parliamentary format, it just becomes a little longer than that in the WSDC format. But another thing that distinguishes WSDC from parliamentary debates is the number of participants. So WSDC generally has more number of participants in a team than parliamentary debates. So Asian parliamentary debates have 3 members per team, and WSDC goes on to have like 5 members per team. But then out of them, 3 debate and 2 are just consultants during case prep, and you can just keep rotating amongst yourself as to who will go with speaker and who is not going to participate in which round, which means it all keeps rotating among the speakers and thinkers. So you can delegate work to yourself and it can keep changing from round to round. That's how WSDC operates. Any questions so far? Because these two formats are very similar.
I did not understand the previous format.
Yes, Diana. Okay, I'll come to that, the previous format.
So just to confirm, are we allowed to take part in multiple debate events, or will we be asked to choose any one of these debate events to take part in?
You will be asked to choose one format. I'll come to that in a while.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Aditi?
Hi, could you please elaborate on like the time limit for the World Schools debate as compared to the first competition?
Yeah, so it doesn't vary by like a huge margin. So it might be a difference of like a minute or 2. I mean, that doesn't even like make the format dramatically different from parliamentary. So the one thing that you need to know is about the team configuration. The team gets bigger in WSDC format, but the speaker time allocation, etc., isn't something that should like make you determine which format you're going to be inclined towards. So if it's 7 minute, generally, if it's 7 minute for APD, Asian Parliamentary Debates, it gets like around 8 minute long speeches for like WSDC. That's the only difference, like a minute or 2 at max. And that also keeps differing according to the tournament you're going to. Okay, coming back to the parliamentary format, because somebody didn't like necessarily understand what it is about. So it's simple, right? So if you're given a side, it could be government or opposition. That's one. In each team, there are around 3 people. And the last speech that you see then, the reply speaker, is just one of these 3 people, which means the prime minister can go as the reply speaker and the deputy prime minister can go as the reply speaker from the government side. Likewise, leader of opposition and deputy leader of opposition can go as like the reply speaker from opposition side, which means that the whip speakers cannot go as the reply speakers. Otherwise, everybody else can from the team, right? So the thing here is that you are given a side, you're given a motion, you are given time to prep on that motion. And once you've prepped on that motion within the stipulated time, could be 20 minutes, half an hour, again, varies from tournament to tournament, but mostly not more than 25 minutes. You go and deliver your speeches and you are well coordinated with your team members. So like the first speaker will introduce what you have to say, the deputy will like generally analyze what you ended up saying in the first speech and like rebuild the case and rebut the leader of opposition. And then the whip will just do comparisons and weigh the debate and say that we win because of so and so reasons. That's what the format like broadly entails. Does that make sense now, Kevin? Are we around? Okay, I'm not sure. How do you pronounce that name? Is it Nigella? Nigella? I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing.
It's Nigella.
Ah,
Hi,
okay,
good
okay.
evening. So I had a query in the debate in the WSDC format. It's written there that there will be reply from the two teams. So does the reply time stay the same as the time given for speaking, or does it reduce or increase?
The reply speeches are shorter. They are like 4 minute long speeches. So right now, don't get into like the very specific details of formats. Understand? Please mute yourself. So don't get into the very specific details as to what the speakers are supposed to do, how much time do they get, because that's all part of training that you'll get later anyway. So you are not supposed to know everything about the formats right now. It's just to give you an overview of formats so that it becomes easy and an informed choice on your end.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. Okay, for Lincoln Douglas then, in this format, okay, there's a lot written on the slide which you can breeze through, but I'll also tell you what Lincoln Douglas is about. This is different from the previous format that I've already discussed because it calls for like individual participation. So this is one-on-one. It's generally about motions which would deal with ethics, right? And here you do not call a motion or a topic, you call it a resolution, right? So there is a resolution that you receive, and according to that, you're given an affirmative side or a negative side. You either support the resolution or you oppose the resolution. And based on that, it's like a 13 minutes long round. Like each round is 13 minutes long, right? And there are then multiple rounds, after which there is like a winner declared based on the points you might have secured, right? So speech structure and time again given on the right side of this slide. 6 minutes are given to you for your constructive speeches, followed by a cross-examination, which is permissible here. And this is almost like a replacement for the points of information that you are allowed to give and answer, like ask and answer in the parliamentary format. So your cross-examination happens, which is this like free-flowing discussion between affirmative and negative side for 3 minutes after the constructive speeches. Then there is a negative constructive speech, again, 7 minutes, then cross-examination over again. Then you have the rebuttals from each side. Time is already specified. And yeah, that's how you conclude this round, right? So the addition here is that, of course, there's speeches, and then you are the person who's delivering both the speeches here. So that's one difference from the other formats, right? But it's also the cross-examination, which is not a concept in the parliamentary or the WSDC format. So if you want to engage with the other teams in the other formats, the parliamentary and the WSDC format, you will have to do it through POIs, if not through your speeches, right? Through rebuttals, etc. So that's a major difference. Any questions on Lincoln Douglas then?
I have a question about the previous format.
Sure.
How much time do you get to research and prepare your speech in the WSTC, and do you get to like use devices or internet?
Okay, like I said, internet usage is not advisable in the parliamentary format because it's like statistics and data does not matter in that format, only reasoning does, which you can organically think about without the reference to internet. But if there is something really complicated in the motions in those formats, they will give you an info slide, which means that you will not require the internet because they already give you the inputs they think you need to think about this motion. So no, internet usage isn't necessarily allowed. And we will, I mean, when we have trainings, we are going to have theme discussions, etc. And there's like a number of themes based on which you get motion. So it should be good and easy. So don't worry about that. Again, niceties shouldn't trouble you a lot right now. It's just an overview that you need to basically understand of the format, that this is a team participation, that this will require me to perhaps prepare beforehand or not. keep those kinds of determinants in mind while you're making a call.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on.
Hi, I have a question about LD.
Oh, okay, sure, yes.
Is there research time and internet usage given for that format?
Yeah, for LD, you are going to get the resolution beforehand. So you will have time with you. So you are not going
Like,
to be given like impromptu motions, yes.
okay, thank you.
Ekamjo, your question?
Hi, yeah, I had a question about, he said that we weren't allowed to use any internet in the parliamentary form and maybe the first one also. But I was wondering, are we supposed to research beforehand or are we just supposed to come up with what we have to speak right there on the spot?
Okay, so in the parliamentary format, there are certain recurrent themes based on which you get motions. So when we are training you for that, we will discuss those themes. So it shouldn't be a problem like figuring the motion out. Get it?
All
So
right.
that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Anandita?
Yes, I did quite understand the speech structure of Lincoln Douglas debate. So could you briefly explain that again?
Okay, so for now, all you need to understand is this, that there is a constructive speech from both the sides. There's going to be rebuttal speeches from both the sides, and then there's going to be cross-examination, which is a free-flowing discussion between the two sides to just like resolve an immediate conflict that might be transpiring in the debate. The structure and everything else can be understood later as well, but these are the components that you need to grasp.
Right, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. How do you pronounce this? Gauri Sapra, right? I think this is two different. It's the name and the surname. Okay, no questions. Let me see. Are there any other questions? I don't see any hands. Yes. Cool. In which case, moving on. Okay, so the last format that we have, not last, the second last format, but this is like the debate. This is the last debate format. Like the last format is then speech. So this is public forum debate with centers on current events and relies on both logic and evidence. So this is different from all the other formats that we've talked about so far, because this is particularly about research and how strong it is from your side. You're supposed to maintain proper case files here from which you can use data to try and win the debate. So here, this is research oriented. So if you think you're a person who's research oriented, who doesn't like going impromptu or thinking on the spot or doesn't have the ready weight, but they'd like to research on things and like just be able to see things through the power of the research that they have backing them, that then if you're that kind of a thinker and debater, then this format is for you, right? And again, the structure, if it doesn't make sense right now, that's not the purpose of the orientation, so it's okay. But look at the components. So there is a prepared speech that comes in, which means you are given the resolution for this public forum debate also beforehand. Then there's a crossfire, and then again rebuttal speeches, crossfire. Crossfire is just basically what you had here, cross-examination. It's just like free-flowing discussion between the two parties or the two conflicted sides. And then there's a grand crossfire. It's grand because it's like the last time, like the last opportunity you get to engage with the other side, and also perhaps like the duration that you get for this particular crossfire is more than the other crossfires. So that, and then there's four components, right? Crossfires, prepared speeches, rebuttal speeches, and then summary speeches. So rebuttal and summary is different, separate here. Not necessarily the case with LD. In Lincoln Douglas, you're supposed to integrate your rebuttal and conclusion in the same rebuttal speech. Okay, so that's about public forum debates. Like I said, this particular format relies heavily on logic and evidence. So your statistical data and countering people on the basis of factual inaccuracy, all of that makes a lot of sense. A lot of which does not apply to parliamentary debates. Parliamentary debates are about how well you're able to reason and rationalize things without the use of very objective examples. Any questions then on this? I think we have one hand. Yes, Arena.
Yeah. So this is more reason or statistics.
I'm sorry, your voice is faltering quite a bit.
I hope you can hear now.
Not too clearly, but try.
Put it in the chat.
Sure, yes, please. That helps.
Yeah, check.
Okay, I'll wait for the query in the chat. Gulnar?
Yeah, my greetings. So I would like to ask, like, is this like a one-on-one challenge, or there'll be like one against many in the public forum debate?
Yeah, so this is also like this is also about individual participation.
All right, thank you.
So it's about you're talking about the Lincoln Douglas format, right? I'm sorry, I don't know if your voice is feeble because there's a problem from my end. Just give me 1 second. Yes, I'm just confirming this question was about LD, right? So Lincoln Douglas is individual participation. Public forum is 2 people participating, right? That's why if you see, look at the format of the debate, it says speaker 1, speaker 2, team A, team B, right?
So there'll be like 2 people in a single team or just one-on-one?
2 people in, yeah, 2 people in 1 team.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, Arena, I have a question, just a second. Is WSDC reasoning based or statistics based? Yeah, so WSDC is a lot like parliamentary debates, more about reasoning than about statistics. But if you have some data, you can use it. So like if you have to mention some experiment, if you have to refer to a particular context or a historical incident, you're free to do that. But then it doesn't hold as much water, the factual accuracy of things in the WSDC format as it does in the public forum debate. I hope that answers. Hriday?
Yeah, so the in like the public policy format, in Crossfire, is it like turn by turn shots by each team, or is it like randomly people interjecting?
So there's going to be a moderator definitely, but then yes, it's a free-flowing discussion.
All right, thanks.
Anika?
Yeah, what all formats are you given motions beforehand?
I didn't get the question. Can you come again?
Like amongst all of these formats that have been mentioned so far, which all give you formats beforehand? Like, I mean, the motions beforehand, sorry.
Okay, let's see. Lincoln Douglas does and public forum debate.
WSDC doesn't?
Okay, it can be prepared and unprepared. So it's interspersed with like impromptu rounds as well.
All right.
So don't think of WSDC as like entirely prepared or parliamentary debates. Just think of PFD, public forum debate, and Lincoln Douglas as ones which will give you motion beforehand.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Ekamjot?
Yeah, are we supposed to choose like either just a single debate format or a speech event, or can we like choose many?
That's exactly what I'm going to come to after I have explained the extempore style.
All right.
Yeah. Hriday, is this from the last time or do you have a new question? Okay. Everybody whose questions have been answered, just please lower your hands. Yeah, thanks. Okay, moving on. The speech event is the like an extempore. So I'm sure a lot of you already know what extempore is. You're given some time to deliver a speech, and then you're given some time to prepare on a motion which you have been given on the spot, and then you're supposed to deliver a speech on that. It's as easy as that. So how we're going to practice about this is just be up to date with like the topical issues, like what is trending in the news, stuff like sustainability, Russia-Ukraine crisis, generative AI, artificial intelligence. So whatever is just like topical and like the talk of the town are things that you can perhaps update yourself about and just read the newspaper regularly. If you think you're a person who's into current affairs, who stays relevant through appropriate knowledge acquisition as and when you should, I think this should be the format for you. Also, if you think you have the gift of the gab or like the skill of articulating impromptu, so the format should be for you in this case. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. On to the next steps. I think a lot of your questions should be answered here, given that you were asking about how many formats you can participate in simultaneously. So all of you have to participate in one of the recommended formats, right? So if you're going to participate through AugLi, you'll get training for like one format that you're going to choose for yourself. right? Which can be based on a couple of parameters. One, your ability to do well at a certain format. Just figure out what intrigues you more. But also in terms of how there is like on the second, and this is me discussing the second point, there is a separate registration fee for each event in the tournament. So this registration fee has to be kept in mind while you perhaps deciding which format to go for, right? And this registration fee, you'll get to know about the figures through the payment link that you will shortly receive. This is me talking about the third point. And you will confirm your participation through by making the payment by 16 December EOD, yes. And this has to happen like by tomorrow, which means. So the thing here is that you will be given a payment registration link in which there's going to be registration fee for each of the formats. You're going to be told to like select one of the 5 formats. Don't like select multiple options. I don't think that, I mean, that's not something you can do at all, right? So you're going to participate in one of the 5 formats. Okay. Any questions with reference to this? Amina?
Okay, so after we get the payment link, as soon as we pay, so we're in, and then we get trained.
Yes. So once you've made the payments, we will wait for everybody to make the payment, and then we'll have another orientation specifying the training plan, how we're going to go about it. So everything should be taken care of after that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Gulnar.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, if we choose public form speeches plus crossfire, are we allowed to choose the debate format in which there's Congress? Like, that's similar to MUN's, but US centric. Can you explain that?
You mean to say a format which isn't mentioned in the shortlisted 5?
Yeah, so can we do that?
You will have to drop a mail to Hello AugLi, right? For that question to be answered.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yashodhara?
Yeah, hi. I'm actually a parent. So just my kids
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
join the call. So just had a quick query here.
Sure.
That is it, and I posted it on the chat. But do the participants have to necessarily choose a speech format, or can they only stick to debating? That's my one.
You can stick to debates as well if that's what you want. It's not necessary for you to choose speech as such.
All right. And my second question was also, I think somebody else has put that on the chat, that how long would the training program be?
The training program can extend up to like it'll be something between 4 to 6 sessions for your respective format.
Okay, got it. And would you be helping with teaming up with another participant, or is that something on that we have to?
No, team formation is on us.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Sudarshan?
Hi, I'm Sudarshan's parent. He's not available. So I was just wondering if we can choose one debate and one speech. I mean, if that's possible, because it will be conducted at different times, right? Because he might be interested in doing debate, and because there are 2 different formats, right? So one of each is that something you'll allow?
Yeah, sure. I get the question. The thing here is that some of these formats cannot be like you can't cross participate with some of the formats. That's Stanford guideline. So for clarity on that, you will have to drop a mail, like I told somebody else as well just now.
Okay. And are the dates when these different events will be conducted? Are the dates out and the dates?
The
and the time?
likelihood of there being an overlap is high, which is why I think they have disallowed cross participation in some of the events. Yeah.
Okay, but are the dates out when these events are going to be conducted? Though,
like the proper tournament, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dates are out. It's 11 to 13th February.
Oh, okay. So there's a date for each of these events, is it? Date and time?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great.
Okay. Lachelle, your question?
Yeah, this is Keisha, Lachelle's mom. I just wanted to know, in the debate format, you need 3 students or 3 participants when it comes to parliamentary or WSDC. Just checking what happens if, you because we've not planned with each other, we're just registering. What happens if you've got just one student who's extra or two students who are extra? What happens then?
I didn't get the question really. Extra as in?
Yes, so
You know, yeah.
I can answer Nitiksha. So ma'am is asking that in case Lishal register and in her category there is no,
okay.
partner that you're able to find. So what happened in that case?
Yeah.
So we will invite the student basis certain conditions, and then we'll ensure that if they register for a debate, then the team get formed. So that's onus lies with us, that if we ask you to go for WSDC, that the 3 team members are there.
Okay, brilliant. So should we like speak with you and plan it before we register? Because once you paid the amount, then you've paid the amount, right? And say you've got 5 students who want to do WSDC. So you've got one team of 3 or who want to do parliamentary. And you've got one team of 3. And then in the second team, you've got 2, but you don't have a third person.
Yeah, so as I mentioned that we will
Yeah.
plan this because it's not just that we have to plan the number of students. In case of all US competition, including the Stanford, we have to sell equal number of judges. So
Brilliant.
if Leshel is participating in Stanford, that means that with her team, we have to send an adjudicator also.
Got it. Got
So
it.
we have to plan both ways, and we will ensure that if team is there, the adjudicator is there. So that calculation, we will do it on our end.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Kamal sir. Kalpana?
Hi, where can we find the details of the date and timing?
So it's right there on the Ideal Instagram page, the details of the tournament, the dates and everything. But then online, there's also Stanford invitation, like the invitation to the tournament, which entails all the details. So you could possibly check on the internet as well.
Okay. The participants will be from India or all over the world it's from the international?
This is an international tournament, so there's going to be people from outside India.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Amina, is there another question or is this from the last time?
Yeah, I had another doubt. So now we'll have to choose between extempo and all the debating formats you just explained.
Yes, yeah, one of these 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whoever's question has been answered, could you please lower your hand because it just helps me navigate through the question. Yes. Who's read me? Rename yourself and ask me the question, please. Okay, Daksh, question.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the disturbance. We just had to confirm that for the WSDC and the parliamentary or even the public format, we can choose our teammates before.
We can take your preferences into consideration if you have any among the list of participants, but then you will have to drop a mail specifying your preferences and if they're participating already.
Okay, ma'am. So if a team has already decided that they will go in a specific format, so they need to drop a mail initially.
One of you can drop a mail saying we have a preference for our teammates and this is how it goes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ravi?
Hi, I just wanted to ask, is there a selection process with the same?
A selection process. So out of these 5 formats, you are supposed to choose one. So you get the liberty to choose between out of these 5. That's on you.
No, I wanted to ask if we would have any kind of
yes,
will
so we
you
will
select? Yeah.
Yeah, so we will look at your profile, look at the category which you are applying for, and basis that we will invite you for the further from here.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Nigella?
Yeah, so I had a question regarding the mentoring. So the the mentoring will be of course done online, but what if it overlaps with our other extracurricular activities that we do? Can it be postponed or is it a rigid system that certain timings are given every day?
So timings will be specified for sure because for all of us to come together, we need to have a particular time for that. But then we will also be recording sessions for people who are missing it for for genuine reasons.
Okay, thank you so much.
So you can watch the recording. Yeah. Okay. Ishrat?
Hi, so I just joined. Is it possible for you to specify the
fees?
No, so the fee will be mentioned when you get the payment link, right? So that'll be there for you when you are making the payment.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Aman?
This is just to confirm that we will be paying the sum and confirming our participation, and then there will be a selection process based on our profile.
No. So, from here onwards, we will invite. That means we will share a payment link or some sort of registration link with you when we select that you are being decided to be part. So you get a payment link. That's a recognition that you have been selected. That's the first thing. On terms of payment and the amount, it varies from which competition you will participate, the number of adjudicator that we have to send for that, and what does the training look like for that particular program. Basis the three combination and considering it's a Stanford, which charge for their competition. Basis that you will get the link, and there will be external reference to their where they're actually quoting their numbers. So yeah.
Okay, I hope that
Yeah,
answers.
sorry, that's not really clear. I mean, so on what basis are you going to send the link? I don't understand that. I mean,
You will get the link by tomorrow.
Okay, and then
Tomorrow.
we pick the one of the 5 events, right?
So currently you have selected few specific activities, events.
Yeah,
Either you have
that's the thing.
selected
So yeah, before this orientation, we weren't quite clear about any of these because I had mentioned also to in the chat through WhatsApp that we weren't sure about these different especially the speech formats. So we had just ticked everything because we weren't really sure. So now that we have an idea after this orientation, so now we'd like to make a choice amongst the the 5 that you'd mentioned.
So look, in your case, then what you also supposed to do is that fill up the prior experience. If the student prior experience is much into debating, we prefer they stay with the debating.
Okay.
Because we look at the candidates which have, obviously, there's a 2 categories over there. One is a novice, one is a
Right. Okay.
correct. And if it's a novice, then we will look at even the student who don't have a prior experience. But if it's a second category, then we will look at the candidates which have the chances of winning, because we as a team send the teams which has the potential to win the international rounds as we winning
Okay.
our previous tournaments. So basis the student application that they have received, we will recommend that, okay, you have done debating, so please stay
Okay.
with the debating, then because you will have more chance of winning the tournament.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
You're saying that the final debate is going to be held at Stanford, and we're supposed to do this online. So how are we supposed to exactly
So, okay, that comes very late in the process. You'll be given your respective URLs to join through, and Stanford will be communicating all of those details about
All right.
like the joining credentials and everything. That should be sorted.
I have another question as well. You said that after the registration and after everything is done, you're going to select a few students that you're going to send, into the international rounds and all. How are you going to select them? Like just based on the Google form we filled, or
Okay, no. So the thing is that whoever has given some experience of debating, we are going to see which format they have had that experience from, right? Because then it by default makes you like a more proficient debater in that format, which is why we would like you to participate in that particular format in which you already have experience. In case you don't have have any experience, we will give you the simpler formats where it'd be easy for you to get breaks and like victories there. So
Okay.
that's how we're operating. Okay, Kevin.
Yes. So in the Google form we submitted, we gave some preferences. But now knowing a bit more in depth about the topics, if we want to change something, can we?
Yes. Yeah, so you will be given a payment link, like I said, right? And you will again be shortlisting the final format that you want to participate in. So this should be your final call when you are making the payment for a particular format. So you can
Okay.
change it, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Sasha?
Whatever preparation or any meetings that will be held, will it be in the like after 23rd of December? Like, will it be in the winter breaks?
It will be after 23rd, yes. Yeah. It'll be closer to like we'll have it when the tournament is approaching so that you don't get rusty in between
Yeah,
training.
but will it be in Jan or will it be right now in the end of December?
It will be in Jan because the tournament is in
Okay.
February, yeah.
Okay.
Apurva?
Yeah, hello. I had a query regarding is there a cap on the number of students that will represent AugLi there?
Kamal sir?
Yeah, so
Is
there's
there a specific
each
number
and
of
every
students?
yes. So each and every event has institutional cap, which is at this point of time is three. In some events, it's 3 teams, in some events, it's 4 teams. That applies to not just AugLi, it's applied to all institutions.
Okay, so this
this is
debate is
first come,
inviting
first
private
serve.
institutions to come ahead with students and not individual student entries?
No, so I don't think individual entry will be allowed, and even individual entry allowed, it's very complicated way that you have to get thing. What we will pick is that we will pick for each category that we selected. We will pick certain candidates, and then we'll invite you to be part of that.
Okay, so the fees will cover the training as well, right?
So
The
fees has
training
three components,
memberships.
as I mentioned. A is the fees. Also, as I mentioned, for all the event that happens, whether it's speech or debate, Stanford mandate that institution has to send one adjudicator with each team, each event, not overall one adjudicator, but adjudicator for each and every team that we send, whether it's for the speech, whether it's for the debate. And then the last part is the training. So the fees will include all these things together.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Aditi?
Hi. So, like you mentioned, you'd be choosing on the basis of like the Google form we filled. So like I have prior experience in debating, but I haven't really like written as much in the like the past achievements. Like I give a brief idea about it. So like, do I need to fill it again with like proper achievements, everything mentioned, or would that be enough? Like
No,
I've
I don't
given
think
very
we're
brief.
looking for like the number of achievements. We're just looking for the kind of experience you had. So whatever you've mentioned should also be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Vansh?
Yeah, so you like talked about that you guys will be selecting a few children, and we need to specify teams as well. So first, like, do you guys first send them like a confirmation that you are selected, and then we send the email for team? Like,
No, so once you receive the payment link, it means that you have been, you can now participate. So once you make the payment, it's assured that you will be participating as part of the AugLi contingent.
so right now I cannot specify my team.
You can just send us a mail if you've received the payment link. And once you've filled your preference that I want to perhaps do this team format, do that first. And once that is done, the payment is made and everything, then you give us a mail sharing the details of the other people that you want to team up with perhaps.
And by when will we receive the link for the payment?
You'll receive it shortly because you're supposed to fill it by tomorrow. Ria?
Yeah, hi, good evening. So what I understood from this conversation is that by tomorrow, the kids who are selected, they will be sent the confirmation for the registration, right? And then the main event will be, the Stanford one will be in February. So what is this adjudicator, like you will be providing the adjudicator for the selected students, or is it the student who will be looking for it?
No. The students don't have to look for the adjudicators. We will be arranging for the adjudicators. This was just to explain the components based on which you will be like charged a certain amount.
And
So that's
another
what it
thing,
includes.
can the student change, like in the Google form, they have filled up various options. Is there a possibility that they can change the format?
There is. So the explanation happened today, which is why we understand if you want to change your preferences, whatever you select in the payment while you doing the payment though is going to be your final call.
Okay, and the last thing, what percentage of students are you looking for? Like if there were 60 students who had applied previously in that Google form. So how many, like what percentage of the students will be like qualified, if you call it, for the main event? Like how many teams are you looking for? Will there be specific 2-3 teams per format, or it would be on the whole? That portion I didn't get it.
Okay, so this is not the percentage that we look up. It's the institutional cap, which means that how many teams we can send, how many teams can go from one institution. So it's the upper cap that the Stanford allows. We want all our candidates, irrespective of even if they are, say, first timer, because they have shown the interest, we want them to debate. It's just that fact that we have more number of applicants and the number of teams or the student that we can apply for is limited because we have an institutional cap that Stanford put to each and
Yeah,
every.
that's what I wanted to ask. What is the institutional cap for your like AugLi?
Yeah, so the institutional cap, as I mentioned, for categories, it's vary between 3 to 4, depending on the event category.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right, Ekamjot?
Does a grade affect the basis of selection?
No.
Like, are you going to choose more seniors or are you going to keep it a mix?
No, it doesn't matter. Sometimes people who are not, I mean, grades simply don't matter. That's a simple answer to this
All
question.
right, yeah.
Because
I'm really interested to do this, and I have a lot of prior experience, and I was just I really hope to be selected for the main event.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So if you have the experience, you'll probably get selected. Yes.
Yeah.
Amina?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, can we change the list of events we entered in the Google form? So like I have taken part in the IIT Madras debate, but then it hasn't occurred yet. So can I change, like, can we add that?
IIT Madras, that's like a separate tournament. So what is your question again?
Yeah, like for in the Google form, you asked the list of major events we've participated in. So can we add that to the list?
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, it's okay. Actually, I mean, because we know that IIT Madras is yet to happen, we'll figure that out. I mean, we'll understand that was a glitch. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, Kalpana?
What would be the selection process by Stanford?
Selection process, as in for a format to be allocated to you?
No. When you are representing our students in Stanford, not all the students will be participating in the debate conducted by the Stanford, right? So they will be filtering some of our students. So how will that happen?
Experience. Mostly.
Okay, it's only the prior experience.
Yeah. That's the only metric we can assess by, right? Yeah.
Okay, so if any one of the student who doesn't have any prior experience, they would be participating in the Stanford.
See, if our institutional cap permits, then definitely they can participate. So whatever your preference is, please fill that in and make the payment accordingly. But if perhaps you might have to shift formats if like the institutional cap is filled and the person and some other people had more experience. So perhaps you can like dabble with some like other formats, say extempore, which is like still easier for novice debaters or public speakers.
Now, how will we know the format or how to choose on it if we don't have any prior experience in any of this thing?
Okay, so you can make the right now you can select the format that you want to participate in. Get it? Right now, that's the only thing you're supposed to do. Don't care about like the team cap and everything right now. Does that make sense?
After everything, and then if the kids are not selected in the Stanford, what is the whole point? And that is what I'm thinking.
Okay,
there is no selection by Stanford. I think she's confused. There's no selection from the Stanford side.
Not this. So it's not the selection by the Stanford. If we select students, they will definitely participate.
No,
Okay.
the question here is that if, let's say, somebody fills the form and makes the payment for WSDC, but then the teams are already filled, which is to say that this person cannot participate in WSDC. So
Exactly.
what
So
happens
that's
then?
the point, that we will invite the candidates when we are certain that they will participate. So let's suppose we talk about WSDC. Let's suppose we have 60 candidates and our institutional cap is only 10 that we can send. So we'll invite the top 10. And that's where we said that we want all 60 to participate. But just the sheer fact that we have an institutional cap, which means that we will invite the first top candidates. Now, what is the way for us to choose those candidates? Is their prior experience.
Okay. So with the same point, for example, consider I don't have any prior experience and I'm registering and paying the fees. Okay.
No, you will
And
not able to pay the fees because then we will not invite you. The idea is that we will come back to you once we look at your profile and we see that there's a entry over there. If there is no entry, we will not ask you to register.
okay. Okay. In the registration link, again, we can send all the details. Is that correct?
Yeah. And also to ensure that we want our all candidates to apply, and we will look out for, say, categories where no vice can apply, which means that even if you don't have a prior experience, there are certain categories where we can fill up. That are going to be our preference always. We're working for that. But at the same time, in case, let's suppose we hit our institutional cap and Stanford doesn't allow us to upper grade that, then we have to, say no to certain candidates. Also, at the same time, we do a lot of competitions. So, for example, one student mentioned about Tamil Nadu Debating League. The sheer fact that we do national competition so that we know that these students are good enough, that they have done national competitions. Now they are worthy enough to go to this international tournaments. Even if you not get selected for whatever reason, wait, participate in these Tamil Nadu Debating Championship, Ideal, which we will post again on the group, and gain experience over there. So you can go to Stanford, Harvard, these tournament in the coming months, coming years.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, Amita, your question, please.
It means you want to tell if anyone have no idea before they are not participating anywhere. It means they should not participate in this tournament. You want to say that?
Sir, I think that's directed to your response. So,
pardon?
Okay. So it's simple. Look, we are saying that if you don't have a prior experience, we so in which category you're applying for, we have to see how many students have applied. Basis that we will able to tell that can we select you or not, the student.
Okay, so which type of category we have to select for the first timer?
You have already applied basis your okay, in your case no experience, the interest that the student has. Now it's our work to do that in your category how many people have applied, and the 4 categories that we have picked, is your one the nearest to it or not, and then basis that we will come with the registration form to you or not. And even if the student not gets selected for the Stanford, look, it's a day one, not everyone goes to the Stanford, there will be other opportunities that we will share. So you have given us the information. We will work on that and come with the best possible case with you in a day.
Okay, thank you.
all right, Sudarshan. Is there a question? Yashodhara?
I just put my question on the chat, please, which is basically that if at all we get a payment link, will that be on email or WhatsApp?
We will go with both, either WhatsApp or email. So we'll share both the numbers. These are our official numbers or email where you will get the information from here onwards.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Sudarshan.
Yeah, sorry. So I had a question about these events. How will we know how many rounds are there? Will you be telling us like, how many rounds there will be for each? Like, will there be quarterfinals, semifinals, and stuff like that, or is there a prescribed number of rounds?
So for each event, there's a prescribed, obviously tentative schedule that's there, we will share
Okay.
with the, once we share, say, registration link with you, we will share a tentative schedule which is being published by Stanford with you, which will include number of rounds and at what time they will happen.
Okay. And another question is when for these team events, right? When there are 3 in a team, so most of the times what happens is the teams are put together by you, and they don't know each other, and then they plan and they get to know each other, and they they come together. But sometimes what happens is one of the student drops out due to some other reason, or so would you have like a backup or a reserve? Because it's happened once before, so I was a little concerned about that when things like that happen, and then these things will be handled by you, or will there be
Yeah. So I guess you were talking about KCL, so it's a good question. So this time
Yeah.
we have sufficient time. So, and the reason we are selecting teams, obviously we have to apply, and the other is that we're sitting in December, correct? 15th of December. And if we form the team by in the next 1 week, we have
Yeah.
ample time to work together. Which
Right.
means that everyone knows, and this is very fixed schedule, 11 to 13. So the student, when they register, and that means the other student has also registered, they have paid the fees, and they are
Yeah.
certain that these are the dates.
Right. Okay.
So all of them are committed to the tournament.
Okay.
Now, if there is any contingencies, say external factor which we can't really, or they can't
Yeah.
plan, so we will plan that. But at the same time, this case we have 2 months duration to prepare. So we
Great.
don't think that case will occur again.
Okay. And will the teams be formed after the workshops, because then they'll know each other and what level they are in a better thing, or will it be formed immediately and then they get to practice and how does
So
it happen?
the thing is that we have to put the entries ASAP. We have to
Okay.
form the teams in parallel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that will be quite challenging, I guess, but that's what have to be done. Then it has to be done, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Gulnar.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, in the Google form, there's an option as novice. So if we like have experience, do we state it as yes or as no? Like, what is the criteria for being
So
a
if you
novice?
have experience, you mention what your experience was, and then if you don't have experience, you just say you are a novice.
Okay,
Debating.
so if we are like not a novice, we just say no, like if we have
Yeah,
experience.
that works. Yes, yes.
And also, like, I didn't state my complete experience in the Google form. So do I like resubmit it right now? Because
No,
then
you mentioned your top achievements, right?
I actually didn't mention the complete achievements. Like,
You don't have to refill the form. So we will be able to evaluate your level of proficiency through
alright.
whatever input you might have put in.
Alright.
Anyway, you can't put in all your credentials in any form whatsoever. So like, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Amina?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, I've actually am more into declamation and I've even participated in declamation. But as you've not given those options, like we've not chosen them for the final thing, so I'll be put into something relative to that, like extempo or something.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ekamjot?
In the Google form for the registration, I had actually selected around 6 to 7 categories that I would be interested in. Do I need to narrow it down to one, or are you just going to look into that?
Narrow it down to one. When you're making the final call, you will have to narrow it down to one based out of the 5 formats that I just discussed.
Like when I'm going to be registering tomorrow or right now?
Yeah, whenever you're registering and making the payment, it's going to be your call now since I've
All
explained
right.
the formats already. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Palak?
Hello. I wanted to know that if suppose I don't have any prior experience, so if I don't get selected in the main cap that's going to the Stanford, so the fee that fee will be returned or it won't be, like what will be the like selection criteria in the training sessions, will the students picked up, or on what basis they'll be selected, like if not prior, if the basis is prior experience only?
Kamal, sir, you want to answer that?
If you pay, correct, if we ask you to pay, that we will ensure that you are participating. If even after that you will, let's suppose for a reason that it's like what will happen, because we will take the payment, which means we have ensured that you register on the Stanford. Does that answer?
Okay, so I want to know that that fees, that will there be any session in the training sessions the students will be picked up, and is the main event on from 11th February to 13th February, or will be that selection day that when the students will be picked up?
No, 11th to 13th February is the completion day. Student will be picked up ASAP by tomorrow.
Okay, so this main Stanford event is on 11th February.
Yeah, 11th to 13th of February.
Okay, so till tomorrow the students will be picked up if they are going or not.
That's true. That's true. Until unless we get any extension from Stanford, that's going to be the case.
Okay. So only those students will be picked up. Only those students will be picked up. Sorry, in the training session, the ones who will be picked up, they'll be only trained, while others, fees will be returned afterwards if they are not selected.
No, we will invite you only if you are selected. So if we ask you to pay, that means you are being selected.
Okay. I understood. Thank you.
Okay. So, Sabiha, I hope I'm pronouncing it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sabiha's mom. So, considering how important the experience is, I think Sabiha has filled the form quite hurriedly. So, do we have any other option to mention the prior experience in detail?
I think we will be able to gauge through whatever you have already submitted, because it's not about like one-upmanship, it's just about having a sufficient amount of experience with you, which means that it's never a competition with the other participants. It's just for us to know that you already know the format and won't have to be like taught from scratch. As long as we get that impression, you'll be in, so it's okay.
But I think we would be more confident if I could just drop in a mail.
Yeah, sure, okay. You can mail it to us then.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Arav?
Yes, my question was that if the particular topic we choose and its student cap is filled, and for another topic the student cap is not yet up to the mark, so will we be informed about it, or we will have to stay within a particular cap?
Okay, so like we've already mentioned, you will get the payment link only when we know that there is space for you in a particular format. Get it?
Yes.
So that's how it's going to be. Okay. If there are no other questions, should we call it a day? Are there any other questions? Arav, you can lower your hand. All right, apparently not. In which case, thank you so much for joining in, and we'll let you know about like the updates, and the payment links will shortly be